Hello everybody, welcome to an episode of Things I Wish I Knew. This is a new series I'm
Five,
starting where I'm going to be
four,
covering different kind of
three,
topics that I
two,
found within my
one.
gaming while I was
Round one.
climbing up the
Capture
ranks
the
that could
objective.
help you
Group up with me.
improve as well. And it's topics that are often not mentioned usually
Please
in
move behind
educational
the
videos.
barrier.
I'm right here playing the Baptiste and on Oasis here, First Point Gardens. And what you're gonna see here is that the enemy is gonna be playing a double sniper lineup. And when you're up against a double sniper, it's extremely important to be aware of snipers' positions so you can play the sightlines. And let me explain what a sightline is. A sightline is basically anything you can see from your current position. And I put on some geometry here, the light blue objects, to demonstrate how sightlines work. So basically anything in the white area right now, it's in your sightline, meaning you can see there. And anything within the black area is something you can't see. So if we would put an enemy in one of the dark areas, anywhere along these dark areas, they're gonna be invisible to you. And that's the power of sightlines. You won't be able to see them, you won't know they're there, and thus you can't deal damage on them. In some cases you'll have some area of effect abilities which could be bounced around, but most of the times you're looking at snipers, they won't be able to deal with you if you're in these areas. At the same time, you won't be able to deal with the enemy because you can't see them either. It's a double-edged sword. So if you're out of somebody's sightlines, that most likely means that they are out of yours as well. There are some exceptions to this though, and it's when we start to looking at what it really is, it defines more in depth what a sightline is. So basically, these are all the possible sightlines you can hold. However, as a player, you can't keep track of everything. You have a cone projecting in front of you. If you play Overwatch with the most optimal settings, you would be going with 109 field of view as broad as possible, which means you can see in a bigger degree. And this is what's currently in your sightlines. Now, anything within these two lines, and it's not black, is visible. Let's say an enemy is placed here, you can see them. However, if an enemy is placed back here, you can't see them because they're out of your sightline. On top of that, there's one little mistake that a lot of players make, and it's tunnel vision. And this is very natural for us, because if we look right here, right in the center, make a line like this is roughly where your eyes will be going. Our eyes are made the way that about 99% of our vision is peripheral vision, meaning it's everything out here. But where your eyes are focused is in here. Your peripheral vision catches movement, and it catches if you're predicting movement, they will catch it. So if I'm ready for a movement to happen, my eyes will scan the area and they'll see it. If I'm ready for an enemy to be somewhere, my eyes will scan the area and I will see it. However, if I'm not thinking, if I'm not actively looking for the enemy, if I'm not actively believing that the enemy could be somewhere, this is what I'm gonna be seeing within these two red lines. And that's what's also known as tunnel vision. That's something I could come back to later if it's interesting. But for now, in this example, is that if an enemy is really focused on something, or if you're really focused on that one player, and you're not trying to have a broader perspective on what's happening in the fight, this is what you're gonna see. And you're gonna miss so much happening around you. You're gonna miss this enemy, you're gonna miss this cover, you're gonna miss this cover, and all of a sudden you're gonna be in the middle of an open field where you can take damage all around you. So that's what a sightline is. And if somebody's behind me right now, they won't be within my sightline, meaning, but I will be within theirs. Meaning they can get shot off me, shots off on me, well, I can't get shots off them because I'm not directly looking at them. I would need to turn around. Another thing that's really important to know with sightlines is that if I'm holding a special sightline, I am technically denying that space for somebody else. Everything within my sightlines becomes dangerous for the enemy. This enemy right here, he's right in my sightlines, I can shoot at him. I can apply pressure to him and it's going to force him to move, especially if I'm a higher damage dealer. For example, if I'm a sniper, and he's a support, he won't wanna stay there because he won't win the duel. He wants to move around and he wants to get to cover. I'm denying him the open space that he otherwise would have no problem threading through just by looking at him. And that's the power of sidelines. Right, so with sidelines out of the way, I'm going to be positioning pretty far behind my barriers to try to take advantage of my cover. And as we can see in this point especially, there's very little natural cover coming out of choke. So what's going to be happening here is I have to play the cover that my Sigma or my Orisa applies to me. I'm going to be trying to moving over to the left side here to go to the natural cover, but as we can see here with the walls, they have a Widowmaker right there. And as I explained before in the sidelines, because the Widowmaker is there, she's denying me that position, meaning I can't move into that position right now. I'm gonna have to somehow move around it. We're gonna see how my team solves it. This is of course a team effort, because I as a Baptiste can't do this on my own. I'm going to be relying on my team, on the communication in my team, to know where the Widow is, to know where the Hanzo is, so I can freely move around the map and always keep them behind the wall. Let's see how this first approach goes for us. I'm going to watch this here in slow motion. I'm going to start moving over to the left, taking some spam. I'm just going to try to keep my tanks up as fast as possible. And here I hear my voice. Here I can see that my team has already seen the Widow, and she's going to be rotating around. I'm gonna try to stick as close to my team as possible, keeping this Widow out of my sight, but here we go. This is crucial. Hanzo is now on my right side. Widow is on my left side, as we can see. Hanzo is now positioned on my right side, while we have Widow on my left side. This puts me in a really tough spot. This puts the whole team in a really tough spot, because the cover here is extremely two-dimensional. So either we're in sight lines of the Hanzo or we're in the sight lines of the Widowmaker. The third option is to push forward here, but then I'm getting too close to the enemy. And this is a problem that my whole team is suffering right now. Not only me, but especially me as a support. I'm gonna be extremely careful here, because if I go down, the fight's almost for sure lost. Especially as main support, that I need to be keeping the front line going. My Widowmaker is going to be suffering for the same problem, but she's already positioned really far back here in a beautiful position, and she can easily outmaneuver the Hanzo by taking 2 steps to the left, and she will be out of the sightlines. The only thing is the Widow, but the Widow will not peek her because it's too dangerous to step out. Let's see how this solves. So this Widow's going to be trying to... The Widow's still in a position, and I'm going to be moving forward here. I can't play anything else than to go forward. See how I'm always keeping up with my team. I'm always there, I'm always trying to rotate. And as my team moves to the right here, I'm going to be moving together with my tanks. That's extremely crucial in these kind of points. Always stay behind your tanks. Your tanks are in kind of cover that you can utilize when you don't have shields. And tanks, don't be scared to step in front of the damage. Your supports should be able to keep you up, because you need to be their cover when there is no other. We rotate here, and I know that the Widow is still on the left. They've gotten a couple picks. My Widowmaker is still taking care of this, and I decide, okay, let's go for it. And I knew this because we had a call in voice before that Widowmaker is going up high ground. I'm going to rotate back down. I knew we have a break. I knew they were... In this position, the reason I could jump up there, and why I chose to jump up there, is number one, the voice that was being called. And number two, if we take a look here, I can see that the enemy Orisa is falling really low, and Hanzo is trying to back off. They got 2 picks, they want to engage here, but they can't because they're taking so much damage. My team is pretty safe. Their Sigma is on the left, their Orisa is still fighting the barriers. I got 2 barriers on my main tanks and a Bridget there. This should be an okay position for me to just leave it for a second and try to force their Widowmaker. Because right now, if we take a look at her positioning, she's the biggest problem for us. She can easily just free fire from up here. We need to shut her down before anything else happens, because she's the biggest threat to our team. Up front line, we're having 2 shields. We have Sigma on the left. He can do some spam, but Brigitte is gonna keep that up. Even though she's actually, I just noticed she died here. But like, my tanks can out-sustain any damage they're gonna be putting in, except for the Widowmaker. So I'm gonna be jumping up, turning around, and I'm gonna take the duel. The Widowmaker can't do anything. She has to get through the shots, but I have too fast to fire. I turn back here, and as I predicted, my tanks are completely fine. I accidentally stepped into one mine I did not see, and for a slight second I panicked there. So what do? I'm taking tick damage now. I know they still have Hanzo alive. I don't know where he is. I just know that he did not die because I kept track of the kill feed. I'm stepping into the red mine. I'm falling down to under 50 HP. Hanzo can one-shot me after 70 HP with a storm arrow. So I need to get the hell out of dodge. I decide here to move out to the right because here I have natural cover. And I know nobody's going to be waiting there for me because their whole team fight is positioned right here in the front. So I'm going to be moving out to the right and rotating back around to the opening down and lower because I know it's safe there. This whole stairwell is safe for me. And yes, I'm gonna be leaving my tanks for a couple seconds so they won't have any healers, but again, it's two shield tanks, it's two very tanky tanks that can trade damage back and forth. Sigma is using his matrix right now. There's not a lot of chance for them to go down in this situation, except if the Hanzo just pops off and gets a couple of headshots in. On top of that, their tanks are both full HP, so I get out of dodge here. If I die here, it's worse than if I'm out of the fight for 5 seconds, because then I'm out of the fight for the rest of the fight. There's no way for me to get back, especially with a Baptiste. So as you can see here, I'm going to be rotating back around, hoping to get my shift up, just get it out in time, and I get out again. I know I popped my shift, I know I'm getting back with HP, and here we go, we're coming in with the rotation, because there's no longer a reason for me to stand up there. I should have rotated earlier, but there was no threat once I saw the Junkrat. Popping up some healing and just taking some damage from the enemy. By this point the fight's already won, we flipped the point, they need to disengage or engage. They're not going to get engaged in a 5v5, especially with the disadvantage of not having the point. Now we're going to take a look at the same fight, but we're going to look from how it looks in-game. So keep an eye on the communication.
We should go point.
That's cool. Yeah, go point, go point.
Widow was left side.
Widow?
Widow's going top left. Bottom left.
Yeah, Widow. They're wrapping around. They're wrapping around.
Oh my god, they're all around.
Yeah. Sorry, I can make you louder. Dead? Oh, I'm dead. I just choked myself. I just killed myself. Holy shit, I'm done. Ooh. Hands up in window. Hands up in window. Where's the point? Where's the point? Where's the point?
All better evidence
Widow was left.
Widow left, Widow left. That's just one of many fights that happens in every game, and you gotta do the same process in every game. You gotta keep a track of their enemy, you gotta keep a track where they are, and you gotta kind of like maneuver around them. The first fight's also very crucial because that one is pure skill. The other one becomes ultimate management and similar, which is much more mental. And I'm gonna be coming into that in a later video. However, right here we can see the benefits of always being aware of your surroundings, always being aware where the enemy is, always being ready to act. And I hope that you've learned something new out of this and that you're moving out into your next games much more smarter than what you were before.